multiple corners to turn. They're going to set off through the start line, they're going to turn around several marks, and they're going to be on this reaching start. They're going to go downwind with a jibe, reach back, and they've got to do this lap twice. After that, then they get the glory of being able to go through a departure gate, and then it's off into the Southern Ocean and what lies ahead. And that's going to be some pretty tough negotiating and navigating involved.
It's going to be incredible, isn't it, that we're going to be following them for, well, pretty much as long as we can here, come charging in. They are so much closer than everybody else. All the other boats very much lined up together, and we can expect Paul Mayer to have to pull the trigger on speed late compared to the others. The other teams are going to come here and a charge. Final few seconds to go for the line, and Biotherm very close to the line, but perhaps the others stuck in a light patch. It looks like Biotherm was actually the one boat to get away here. The wind just produced a bubble right where the other teams didn't want to do it. They would have been looking at Paul Mayer and thinking that the Frenchman is crazy to be that close to the line. But it's Biotherm right now, 5-10 seconds after the gun has fired, the only boat to have crossed the line. And look at this. I mean, they're all on the wrong jibe for what the breeze should be doing. That's not a happy face for Kevin Escoffier on board Team Holcim BRB, and anybody that knows Kevin Escoffier knows how he sails. A very intense sailor, but look at this. This is the breeze that's waiting for them, and this is probably what was making Kevin Escoffier sad, is because it's not with the Frenchman yet. Team Malizia, Boris Herrmann now absolutely flying. Both foils are out, ready for the tight corners of this racetrack, and they have had to transition from light wind sailing, eking the boat forward, to too much power, ripping the boat away, an enormous bear away for Team Malizia, and they're not at the mark yet. That turn was simply due to a loss of control. They're now turning themselves back up. The transition from light winds to strong winds, forcing Team Malizia to take avoiding action, to take a big course dive just to try and hold on to everything. But you can see the split in the racetrack right now. Biotherm round Mark 1 and onto the slower downwind section, much shorter before that high-speed reach on the way back. Now Team Malizia back on course, going round in second place. Indeed, handling these Imoccas is one thing, and handling these Imoccas when the breeze goes from 0 to 20 knots in a blink of an eye is something else. What is going on here? There's a little bit of a park up here. This is the compression, D, that you were talking about. We knew that things were going to stretch off the start line as those leaders got into the breeze. Now it's all squeezing together as the boats ahead sail into the light winds. And Guyot Environment Team Europe to leeward, trying to find a way through, but they're not really going to see much of the breeze down there. But right now it's almost as if the race is restarting. This is an incredibly tricky conditions out in Table Bay here, Dee.
Oh, just 2 knots there at boat speed. That's so frustrating after they've just been through those crazy conditions. But how good for Guyot Environment Team Europe to have that compression and that restart. That gets them back in the race. That gives them hope that they can now do something about it. But Biotherm will be so devastated that their hundreds of mile advantage has been lost.
Guyot Environment Team Europe in 5th place, and it was 5th place by a bit of a margin. It's no longer that case now. We've got Team Holcim PRB just ahead here to the right-hand side of your picture, and look at those J3s, the small triangle sails, desperately trying to find a little bit more breeze, but it's there. Look up to windward. You can see it. You can barely touch it. Up to speed already through the start line again as we are looking there. They're absolutely ripping along right now. The light winds firmly behind them, and we are seeing speeds of well over 20 knots for 11th Hour Racing Team as they are smashing through the water of Table Bay. Team Malizia just a little way ahead of them, 28 knots on board 11th Hour Racing Team at the moment. They are holding on hard. I think that is Jack Boutel just looking out, trying to cast his eyes forward, trying to see that mark, call the timing in. Team Malizia are ahead of them, but Team Malizia is not going as fast.
So we can get down quicker, okay? So we didn't let anyone in. Plenty of pressure here. Good angle paralleling here. follow the bear away, it'll be late. Okay?
So it was Charlie Enright with his head out of the canopy. Jack Boutel still in shorts and t-shirts safely down below. But look at this with Team Malizia. It was Team Malizia that had an enormous lead going around that first mark, stretching out as they got into the breeze. Now 11th Hour Racing Team firmly on their windward hip, and Mark 1 is coming into view. It is just ahead of these two boats. Plenty of power here, but that does make the turn a little bit fraught with danger. Team Malizia at the mark, now turning round. Dial into that battle for first place. We will just confirm that it looks like Biotherm are heading into the background. There's a little bit of VHF chat in the background here, and they're going to have to go to shore. We're not too sure what the technical issue is, but it's certainly severe enough that they're going to have to take the 2-hour penalty, and they're still going to have to sail the import section of the course before they can get out into the wild ocean. So Biotherm absolutely looking fantastic when the start gun fired, but right now they are back on the wrong footing, going back to shore to sort out their boat. Meanwhile, out on the racetrack, without the problems that seem to be plaguing Paul Mayer, it is Team Malizia nearly hitting 30 knots of boat speed with an over 200-meter lead from second place, 11th Hour Racing Team. Team Holcim PRB behind in third place, and then Guyot Environment Team Europe rounding the last of the marks onto that top reach in fourth. What an unbelievable race we are having here. Team Malizia still looks set to produce even more speed. D, for the sailors that are still in it, the challenge is there. For Biotherm, they're going to have to go back ashore. I mean, this race has only been running for a few moments, and already there's so many stories.
I know, the psychological drama. Let's just see now the lead of Team Malizia, see what's going on, if we can hear anything from them.
Now it's Boris Herman rounding and onto the final reach. This reach will take them through a gate between the two marks at the other end of the course, and then they are free, they are off, they are released out into what can only be described as the hardship of the Southern Ocean. So Team Malizia are now round. 11th Hour Racing Team hot on their heels. Team Holcim PRB in third place. Well, with now the speed starting to match. And look at Guyot Environment Team Europe, 25 knots for Robert Stanczyk and Benjamin Dutroux on that top reach, as we see Biotherm in the background sailing back into the harbour. This is 1, 2 and 3 now round the bottom of the course. Danger of damage to that mainsail, you're absolutely right, Dee, because of course when you break a batten you produce two sharp edges, two knives inside the sail, and as the sail is flapping around it could spear its way through, and what could be a small problem with a broken batten could turn into a large tear on the sail. And now we can see 1, 2 and 3 through the gate, the final mark of the inshore section of leg through. It's Team Malizia that is leaving Cape Town in the lead, but just behind and just to leeward it is Team Holcim PRB in second place, who have launched themselves from last off the line into second now. 11th Hour Racing Team to windward. They are going to need to plan themselves to solve this problem, as Kevin Escoffier, he hasn't finished yet, he wants to make a move into first. That main is back up, but you are absolutely right that they have been able to find a moment when the other boats are parked up. I wonder whether they knew it was going to happen, and the question is the technical issue on board Biotherm. What is it, and what exactly seems to be their plan? Because right now they are still sailing. We did get confirmation from the race management team that if they did sail back into the harbour, then they would need to stay there for at least 2 hours before restarting, and they were going to have to sail the inshore section again. So maybe they've decided that they can sort the problem on the water, and it's actually not worth abandoning this racetrack. They are still sailing round the race course right now. They're a good way behind, but it seems to be Biotherm still pushing out. A Biotherm in the breeze pushing, but let's see whether 11th Hour Racing Team are going to be able to get that main back up. It is now dropped all the way. I mean, this was the smart play, certainly. The clock was ticking as to how long you can leave a shattered, broken batten in the top of the main that's flapping around before it rips the sail. And if you can see there from the helicopter shot, the main is right the way down. The crew is on deck, and they are pushing hard to try and get the new batten in before they can get it up. And right now, they are not losing out. The teams to windward, Team Malizia and Team Holcim PRB, are absolutely parked right now. I mean, Dee, this is smart. I mean, I'm going to hand it to them here. I don't know whether they saw this moment and they planned for it, but this is a smart move. Well, now Biotherm still ashore, still repairing, and I will be impressed if they can get that track and the strops reattached within the minimum 2 hours, so we could see that repair taking a little bit longer. Team Malizia right now, as Rosalind Kuiper goes forward onto the bow, just getting what seems to be other sails ready. Team Malizia in the lead, and Team Holsten PRB just behind, with Guyot Environment, Team Europe a long way back in third. So Team Malizia in the lead at the moment, pushing through in the light winds of Table Bay. Team Holsten PRB just behind. And just remember, these are the opening stages. These are the first steps of leg 3. From here, these boats are going to push down into the Southern Ocean, an area of the world that these sailors know only too well, and they know its formidable reputation.